As it happens, sharp expert analysis that goes beyond the surface and hard-hitting investigative pieces that challenge the narrative. This is Augustine's Final Whistle, where the truth gets the final say. Subscribe now to Augustine's Final Whistle and never miss a moment. Turn on notifications, stay ahead of the game, and be part of a community demanding more from football coverage. Augustine's Final Whistle, where the game is scored as it Yes, when the final whistle is blown, everything changes. The winner takes it all. The debate ignites. The blame game begins. And suddenly, the missing drawing board is found. This is where the real game starts. Welcome to Augustine's Final Whistle, your premier YouTube sports show where passion meets perspective and every result is dissected without mercy. From tactical breakdowns to heated debates, from expert insights to unfiltered reactions, this is football conversation at its most exciting and most honest. So when the match ends, don't switch off, tune in. Catch the electrifying, entertaining discourse on Augustine's Final Whistle, right after the final whistle is blown. Because the game doesn't end, it evolves. So see us on the streets for live reactions, updates, and breaking news. From the pulse of the global game to the stories they don't want you to hear. This is Augustine's Final Whistle. As the world counts down to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, a new voice rises. Bold, uncompromising, and unapologetically real. Here, football is more than just the 90 minutes. It's the politics, the passion, the power plays behind the scenes. This is your home for top quality football news. Delivered uncut, unfiltered, without fear. Breaking news as it happens. Sharp expert analysis that goes beyond the surface and hard-hitting investigative pieces that challenge the narrative. This is Augustine's Final Whistle, where the truth gets the final say. Subscribe now to Augustine's Final Whistle and never miss a moment. Turn on notifications, stay ahead of the game, and be part of a community demanding more from football coverage. Augustine's Final Whistle, where the game is scored as it is.
Position, her second start in a row after battling cancer last year. She looks like she's getting back to herself, which is something we'll love to see.
Anderson gets in front. Banda bashes it past Allen. Barbara Banda scores her 10th of the season. Pride lead 1-0 in the first 5 minutes.
You can't get in a battle with her. You have to know where she is. But physically, if you get too tight, this is what she's going to do to you. And it's actually Banda who just runs onto the back of Anderson, kind of slips on the other side and finds a way to bury this one past Emmy Allen. And I don't know if this is the grass with the weather, but that is an awkward spin the ball had on it, and Banda just the first to pounce, places it, and Orlando are up 1-0.
Both of these teams at times this year have struggled to add to their goal scoring line. You look back at the last time they won a match, May 3rd, Kunananji scored in the 5th minute. Here's Bay, breaking away from the pack. Allen comes out. Banda finishes. The Golden Boot leader adds another brace to the resume. The 9th of her career puts the Pride back in front.
Who provides, but this is why you play into those central spaces that I was talking about right before halftime, is because then you can allow Banda to get a little bit more advanced. You can thread the ball through, and Yates does a great job of bending that ball between the two center backs. Allen tries to do as much as she can to affect it, but it's Banda with a really slight touch around her. That stutter step is nasty because she gets Courtnall the lunge, and then there creates a gap. Just physically has that advantage over players and can do this, hold the ball up as well.
Guides it over. Dyke demolishes! Dyke dents the crossbar before stinging the strings. Orlando have scored twice in the first 10 minutes of the second half and lead 3-1.
Throughout this match, and here, watch the players swarm to Banda, and then it's just Dyke who's finding her space on the edge of the box. And Emmy Allen was there, but sometimes you just got to say, hey, Allen gets a touch. She does. She gets a touch to it, and that's going to be difficult for her. She's going to feel like she was going to make more of an effect on this, but that has hit with power and precision from Dyke. Sometimes you have to tip your hat to a really nice.
My sincere apologies. I guess you were not hearing me. That is, the volume was a little bit down. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for joining us. Good evening. Good evening. If you're watching us from Zambia, the Southern Hemisphere, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to Augustine's Final Whistle. We bring you a few episodes of this podcast every week. We will try as much as we can bring you at least 3 to 4 times of this podcast every week discussing Zambian football. And today I'm very happy and excited to be your host. Welcome to this show. We do have a jam-packed session, and I'm looking forward to an interaction. So thank you for joining us tonight on this day of the Lord on the 31st of May, 2026. It is the last day of May. Tomorrow we enter the month of June. The month of June is the 6th month of the year, meaning that we are halfway through this wonderful, wonderful year. So before we could obviously start the program and discuss football, sports in general, I wish to first of all send my heartfelt condolences to the people of Eastern Province, particularly the people, the family of the late Nkosi Yamankosi, Paramount Chief Pezeni of the Ngoni people. The traditional leader passed on yesterday. Information was provided that he demised yesterday at the age of 75. We join the people of Eastern Province in mourning their leader, a very significant figure in the history of Zambia, and a very, very important figure in our society. Heartfelt condolences. We join you in mourning, and we mourn with you. On that sad note, as we start the program, I just wanted to play, one song as we proceed into the first segment of our podcast, which is the news bulletin. So just a throwback into the past from our under 17, under 20 World Cup team in 2017, led by the likes of Enoch Mwepu, Solomon Sakala, Mangani Banda. I was very excited to see Mangani Banda win the goalkeeper of the year at the MTN Awards on Friday. Congratulations to the young man. I watched him at the Under 17 World Cup in Korea. He's a marvel to watch. I know that technical experts believe his height is a disadvantage, but I beg to disagree. As a goalkeeper, I look at him and say that's a man made for the goal, and I was excited to see him win that award. I just want to play one song, the boys, or just one clip that I captured during that moment. Please enjoy this moment.
Tranquillement. Tranquillement. Allez Hassan, allez Hassan.
Yo kana ñettal la lan la fa ñaareel ji xana bi lay ba inshallah tan
So that's a clip from the Senegal team, not the clip from the under 20 World Cup team. My sincere apologies. There was a mix-up on the videos. Going straight into our segments today, I wanted to capture, like the preamble of the program would have shown. I played a few videos of Barbara Banda. That was the big news of the weekend. We started off with the MTN Award, and we went to Barbara Banda's performance against Bay FC. Bay FC's Rachel Kundananji's team. So two Zambians in the National Women's Soccer League were facing off in Orlando, Florida. And Barbara Banda's Orlando Pride emerged victorious that weekend, with Barbara Banda having an explosive display. She scored 2 goals and provided an assist. That performance increased Barbara Banda's tally to 11 goals this season so far. So it means that she's in very good position to win the Golden Boot this season. Unfortunately, the sad news from that game is that Barbara Banda was aided out of the game just towards the last minutes of the match for an injury. We have reached out to Barbara Banda and her team, and we've reached out to Orlando Pride just to get the gravity of the injury. But we are yet to get feedback. We hope it is not something scary that would potentially affect participation in the WAFCON. WAFCON is coming up in 4 to 6 weeks. About 6 weeks from today, we will be going to the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. And Barbara Banda is a key figure at that competition alongside Rachel Kundananji. As we speak today, both Rachel and Barbara Banda should be heading to Zambia. Zambia is hosting the Four Nations tournament. There's a FIFA window that allows all the players in different leagues to travel to their respective countries to participate in preparatory matches. And Barbara Banda and Kundananji are heading to Zambia for a Four Nations tournament. That Four Nations tournament involves Lesotho. It also involves Kenya. It involves Zimbabwe. So it's being hosted by Zambia at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium in Ndola from beginning on the 1st of June round up to the 9th of June. So we can only wish Barbara Banda a quick recovery and hope she'll be fit for the tournament. I mean, my advice will be if Barbara Banda picked a knock and she needs to rest, this is the best time to rest. The American League itself will be on recess because the World Cup is kicking off in the next, let's say, 10 days. It's kicking off on Thursday, the 11th of June, with an opening match between Mexico and South Africa in Mexico City, Guadalajara Stadium. So when that tournament is underway, the American Women's Football League obviously will be on recess. At this point, there will be no games. So being a key player that she is, if she has a knock, I think we need to preserve her and she needs to rest, begin to recover if that knock is not serious and she doesn't need any significant medical attention. But if it's an easy knock that she needs to play, I do not think it will be wise for us to feature her in the tournament. We can give it to the local players. I see that Nora has summoned a team for this competition. Obviously, the new faces in that team is the returning faces that have not played football in a bit. Ochumba Oseka, who plays in China. There's Nkoma, who's also coming back after an injury, and I see Pauline Zulu after transitioning from Zanaco to Zesco, has also earned her place back in the team. So I'll read to you the team in a moment, but I thought I could discuss Barbara's injury. That's the news out of an explosive performance she had on Friday. That's the sad news that we've been trying to see if at all it's anything serious and deserving preservation, because we need to go to the Women's Africa Cup with a very strong team. We need to go there with a mission to qualify to the World Cup in 2027 in Brazil. That is key to us. And Barbara will be, a vital member of our team because her form is top-notch at the moment. So we need to preserve that. We congratulate her for an explosive performance against BFC, in which she increased her tally to 11 goals. Apart from Barbara Banda's performance, we also have some exciting news from our young girls in the Copa Princesses. I mean, they went to the Democratic Republic of Congo this weekend. This afternoon, they were playing that country's under-17 side in the second leg, under-17 World Cup qualifiers. They had an impressive win against their counterparts today, the Congo, in the first leg a week ago, in which they defeated the Congo 5-0. They went on into Lubumbashi, which is the second largest city in the Democratic Republic of Congo, after, of course, the capital, Kinshasa. And in that match, they were 2-0 victors, meaning that their tally on aggregate was 7-0. Impressive scoreline. Congratulations to Coach Caro Kanyemba. Congratulations to everyone at the Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, who ensured that this team continues to ride on a high. We're excited. They are going into the final round. Into that final round, the team will be facing Ethiopia. Ethiopia on the weekend of July 3rd and 5th. They will be facing Ethiopia in the first leg in Ndola. So that is the final qualifier. Should they defeat Ethiopia on both legs, the team will then proceed to the World Cup in Morocco for the under-17. They will be among the 5 nations from Africa that will represent Zambia in that competition, the World Cup. It'll be a 3rd straight World Cup appearance for Zambia. It is a wonderful feat, a wonderful score. And I think we, as a country, as an association, as FAS, we need to pay particular attention to developing the skills of Coach Carol Kanyemba. I think she's done exceptionally well. And rather than spend, the money we may not have, the money we struggle to find on expatriate coaches, I think this is the promise we are getting from a local coach with the potential to rise, and becoming one of the best coaches on the continent. We can draw examples from South Africa who developed Desiree Ellis. Desiree Ellis has become one of the best coaches on the continent in South Africa. We can do that to Zambia by identifying this talent in Carol and then proceeding to encourage and build on that expertise. Well done, Carol, and your team, your staff. We're looking forward to that match against Ethiopia in July. Obviously, the first leg in Ndola, the return leg in Ethiopia, potentially at Addis Ababa. So that's a very, very a good fit. Away from that, we also want to congratulate all the winners that walked away with accolades, at the MTN Awards. We did see, Coach Oswald Ntapa, as I predicted on the program. I did predict that Coach Oswald Ntapa was the likely winner. I mean, it was a no-brainer. He was the winner for the Coach of the Year award, having, taken Power Dynamos into the group stage of the Confederation of the CAF Champions League, proceeded on to retain the title, and also took them to the final of the Absa Cup where they lost to Red Arrows. I mean, he has done very well, and a well-deserved award to Coach Oswald Ntapa. Albert Kangwanda was voted, player of the season. Done very well with Red Arrows. Very good player. He's also received national team call-ups along the way. Well done, and congratulations to Albert Kangwanda and everyone else that won the awards. I particular mention to young Given Kalusa, who was voted player of the season. He plays with FC Moza. He's a good talent. I watched him against Argentina. Saw some very good flashes from the youngster, and we wish him all the very best. Like I said, I was talking about Mangani Banda. Mangani Banda was voted, won the Golden Glove and best goalkeeper of the season, plays for Kawa Warriors. Excellent goalkeeper he is. He may not be the tallest in the league. He may not be the tallest goalkeeper that you may look out for, but I think he has the qualities of a good goalkeeper and performs very well given any circumstances. So that is where we are in terms of our news bulletins for the weekend. I thought I should make mention of that. I was talking about the return of Ochumba. I'm very, very excited to see that Ochumba has been given a place in the national team. I followed closely her injury when she suffered an injury. Ochumba suffered an injury during an outing to China right at the beginning of, I think, last year, March 2025, between January and March 2025. She suffered an ACL, unfortunately. The player was, left without significant attention. As she was left without significant attention, knee, began to balloon. Those were very unfortunate, circumstances in which she relieved the player. But, thankfully, when there was a change of guard at Football House, there was attention paid. I think the government of Zambia also came in and attended to medicals. She's back on the road. She signed a new contract, and now she's earned a place back in the national team. That is very exciting news. And I'm very happy for her. Congratulations to Ochumba Oseke for remaining determined and resolute to continue serving your country. That is very, very good news. I did, make mention that I'll be going into an episode where I'll now discuss, something very personable, an issue that was, impliedly raised at the MTN Awards by the FAS president, If Mwemba. He did mention, and I do have a video here. Before I can go into that segment, I would love to play that video so we can, listen in to that, address he had at the MTN Awards.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We are all gathered here this evening in the beautiful town of Kitwe because of the power of football. And indeed, as I conclude, I talked about the importance of the fourth estate in any nation, not only in secular politics, but also in any organizational setup, or indeed in football. The journalists have a duty, a fundamental duty, to help democracy grow. Democracy thrives in the marketplace of ideas, and freedom of expression is the lifeblood of any democracy. Therefore, you, the media, as the fourth estate, you must help this country to genuinely unite. You will be failing in your duties if you are going to allow abuse of freedom of expression and end up allowing people to commit offenses in the process. Football is about love, is about unity. Because at the end of the day, when the law visits your shoulders, you will start complaining. So the media help this country to genuinely unite. We cannot continue to have differences. We cannot continue. Football is a game of unity. Football is a game of love. You cannot continue to talk about Ted Mlonga. He is bad. Evaristo Kasunga was bad. Karusha Bwaria was bad. Andrew Kamanga was bad. Keith Mwemba is bad. And you are the only person who is right in this country. I think we cannot continue along those lines. And to everything, there's a limit. There's a limit to everything. I think you know what I'm talking about. As far as we remain committed to using football as a force for national unity, youth empowerment, and social transformation. It's a game of unity. It's a game of love. That's why we are all here, because there's love, there's happiness here. I wish to thank you all and wish to thank everyone and wish everyone a wonderful evening. May God bless you all. May God bless Zambian football, and may God bless the Republic of Zambia. Thank you very much.
That was Mr. Keith Mwemba giving his address at the MTN Awards. So he raised several issues in that address. I mean, that was a portion that interested me particularly. I do not know why he used that podium to go and make innuendos, which, laced with falsehoods. I mean, as the FAS president, when you go to give a speech, when you go to give a public address, you must have your facts right. You must have your facts in place. They must be intact. For someone who is, a learned counsel with so much experience at the bar, a responsibility is placed on you to also augment your public statement with evidence. You must be able to, you must back up your statements with evidence. He did, raise issues regarding journalists. He calls us the fourth estate. And yes, in a democracy, the media and journalism itself is considered a fourth estate. Why is it considered a fourth estate? It's considered a fourth estate because it assumes the role of a watchdog. We, the media, are considered the watchdog of the three arms of governance. So the three arms of governance, drawing from our social studies, or is it civics classes from both elementary or primary school into secondary school, the three arms of government. And of course, that is basically what the setup is, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. So I think he was drawing journalism and the media fraternity as a fourth estate in that respect. He didn't mention names specifically. Obviously, he knew why he didn't, but the innuendo that was making was by and large a target, or a response to my maybe criticism of his administration thus far. Whether he is happy or not, I do not think, first of all, that was the right platform for him to raise, a response to me. He has an opportunity. I mean, of course, he has got a litany of bloggers that he pays, that, occasionally he would come in WhatsApp group. They are personal sometimes, and they would respond. But, you understand that a few of them are hungry souls. You don't even have to respond to them. They need to justify, the income they get from him. They get 1,000 here. They also get 2,000 there. He pays, whenever they go to visit him at his office, he parts away with a bit of quarters. One of them is known as a 20 kwacha opinionated young man. You give him a 20 kwacha, his opinion can become anything. So you don't need to respond to that because, it's worthless. They'll just derail you. Your focus should be on Zambian football. So he's got all these that, he uses to respond. But again, he found it, wise, or he found it wise within himself that he should respond to me at the MTN Awards. Now, he brings in claims that are false and states that no, you cannot be the only one who is right and everyone else is wrong. He mentioned the late Evaristo Kasunga. Mr. Evaristo Kasunga was FAS president from around about 2000 and the year 2000 to 2004. He also mentioned, a very dear man to me, Mr. Teddy Mlonga, who was president, I think, twice. He was president from somewhere in 1996, 1997, thereabout, to 1998, 1999, when he was forced out of FAS by second Republican president Frederick Chiluba at the time, following what came to be known as the Bobo Dialasso scandal that happened in Burkina Faso. So during the Africa Cup of Nations. So Mr. Mlonga and Dr. Chiluba did not have, the best of relationships. So Mr. Mwanga was forced out of FAS. He had served a couple of years and, had to leave because, the government didn't support him as the FAS president at the time. So he later came on to serve FAS again in 2004 to 2008 when his vice president, the celebrated Zambian footballer Kalusha Bwalia, won an election to become president. Kalusha served FAS from 2008 to round about 2016 when one of his fierce rivals, Andrew Kamanga, was elected as FAS president. Andrew Kamanga served FAS from 2016 to 2025 when Keith Member assumed office. Mr. Keith Member gives an analogy that all these people have been portrayed them as bad. They are bad in my eyes. That's wrong, totally wrong. Number one, in fact, not only wrong, it's false, totally false. He owes those people who didn't even clap an apology for lying to them. He lied. And he's a very good liar. Okay, as a leader, you must be honest in your views. Stop lying. Okay. Let me start with Mr. Kasunga. Mr. Kasunga, I personally, first of all, became a journalist, in 2001. I started practicing actively on the sports desk in 2002 at the Times of Zambia. I left the Times of Zambia in 2003 to join the Post. I was engaged as a sports journalist sometime in November after streaming for the Post for about 6 months as a correspondent. Then I was engaged in sometime in November 2003. So when I was hired in 2003 into 2004, Zambia was playing the qualifiers for the Africa Cup in 2004. Coach Patrick Perry then was the head coach for Zambia, and the team went on to play, the qualifiers. We lost to Benin 3-0. I think that was one of our worst, qualifying series in a long time. We had not missed an Africa Cup of Nations, and the country was so upset. I was not the only one who was disappointed with the team. Mr. Kasunga was FAS president. At no point, personally, did I have a problem with Mr. Kasunga. Probably my professional relationship then could only have been a couple of years. At no point. I don't remember having called him a bad man, a bad person. In fact, Mr. Kasunga, even when he left FAS, we remained in constant touch until he was a diplomat in Canada. I would even call him. I would talk to him. He remembered who I was. We remembered each other all the time. So I don't know what the FAS president was hallucinating about at a very important event where you have sponsors, where you have to pitch why Zambian football needs funding, where you need the extra funding into football. You go and reduce it to a discussion about a journalist who is bad, who identifies the Kasunga, Mlonga, Kalusha, Kamanga bad, which are total lies. So I never at any point, yes, I went to the AGM. Mr. Kasunga was literally forced out. The government didn't want Mr. Kasunga. They said, we cannot continue funding football when we have failed. In fact, football makes government unpopular. They fear. When they sit in their offices, they're scared because for some reason, the emotions that come from football are so much that they can, hound the government out of power. So most governments want to be proactive. Most governments want to please public opinion. They want to manage public opinion. The only way the government at the time could manage public opinion was to ask Mr. Kasunga to exit his position. And he was one of the first presidents to agree. Because most of the times, first presidents also don't agree when they're being forced. They try to fight and fight. It becomes a prolonged fight. But Mr. Kasonga, being the gentleman he was, he just gave it up. Who did he anoint? He anointed his deputy chairman, his vice chairman then, the late Chiwelu to challenge for the position of first president. It was Mr. Chiwelu and Mr. Mlonga who went on to contest the 2004 elections. At no point did I have a problem with Mr. Kasonga. At no point whatsoever. So you cannot say, yes, you are the only one who sees Kasonga, but I never saw any bad in Kasonga. Professional disagreements. That's very different from seeing bad in someone. Number one. So, and in any case, I never covered Mr. Kasonga for a long time. So my relationship with him did not even reach the same relationship, for instance, as Mr. Kalusha. Okay. And, or Mr. Kamang. So that is what I wanted us to put into perspective. I had a wonderful interaction and relationship with Mr. Kasonga. As first president, learn to have your facts when you go on a podium to speak. That was a very important podium where, as first president, you needed to pitch the association's desire, okay, to market Zambian football, to improve Zambian football. You needed to demonstrate what you had done in the first year and what you were going to do in the next year. But you begin talking about a journalist who, in fact, you begin lying, okay, about me. Secondly, very, very clear, Mr. Teddy Mlonga in high esteem. He is like a father to me. So I never had a bad relationship with Mr. Mlonga. The only thing I'll tell you, if you don't know, is that Mr. Mlonga did not support Keith Mwemba's candidate. He didn't support your candidature, Mr. Mwemba. I was supporting your candidature, but Mr. Mlonga did not support your candidate. I know that. I may not have agreed with him. He didn't agree with me on that fact, but that doesn't take away the fact that I hold him in great esteem. He remains a father figure to me. I mean, I've had a wonderful relationship. I'll tell you one thing. Mr. Mlonga was very particular in giving interviews to journalists. And because of his experience in 1998, late 1990s, he felt journalists treated him bad. Okay, the only journalist he was comfortable to give a one-on-one interview was my former boss, Mr. Sheikh Chipur. That's one of the next journalist. Any journalist who went to Mr. Mlonga to have a one-on-one interview, he would ask for me. That's a kind of a relationship I had with Mr. Mlonga. So you cannot say, if I saw bad in him, and indeed he took it that way, he would not look for me to give an interview. He would give an interview, but, my name would come up. I had such a dear relationship, and you cannot break it. You cannot break it by lying to them. Those are people that are very special to me. That's a very special man to me. We didn't agree on the first elections. We never even discussed it. But clearly, I was not supporting the candidate he supported. I supported you as a candidate, Mr. Mwemba. He didn't support you. Okay? So, yes, if you say I cannot always be right, like I did mention on my face, probably one of the few moments, I'm a human being, okay? I'm bound to error, and none of us is without blame. However, if there is a wrong decision I made was to support you in our football, because I think you are a wrong guy in that position. That is what I have concluded. You are a very wrong guy in that position. And perhaps Mr. Mwonga was right not to support you. We did need a change. You talk about unity. I'm one of those who was a proponent of unity when Manga was in charge. Okay, so I didn't have a bad relationship. That's a kind of a relationship. I'll tell you one thing. Two of the best general secretaries that have saved Zambian football, in my view, Mr. Paulson Koko was employed by Mr. Kasonga. Right? He was employed through a very transparent process, interviewed and selected. He didn't come from, a campaign. He was basically interviewed and selected from a professional process. The second one was a secondment under Mr. Teddy Mlonga, Brigadier General John Musonda. All right. Though Brigadier General John Musonda was the architect of the 2006 FAS Constitution, that Constitution never had any amendment until we had an amendment in 2017, when now we were transitioning from what it was to the new setup where we have, executive committee members elected from provinces and reduced the electoral college. So that is the kind of relationship that I had with Mr. Mlonga, with Mr. Kasunga. We come to Mr. Kalusha. Yes, of course, we did have fundamental disagreements in the manner he managed football. But was it anything personal? Nothing whatsoever. To this day, I have a relationship with Mr. Kalusha Wad. I do talk to him. I can pick up the call and call him, big man, how are you? It's fine. We chat, we laugh. He calls me. You are aware, of course, that just a week ago, I even had a meeting with him. You go and start spreading falsehoods that I forced a meeting. No. We talk almost on a frequent basis. When we talk, we laugh, we joke, we discuss Zambian football. But it's not everything that we'll talk about publicly, that I've met this one, I've met that one. No, because even if I was going to talk about Kalusha's meeting and that, you were going to be jittery because you are paranoid. You're running football with paranoia. You're going to be jittery. What is it that the Augustine and Kalusha was meeting and talking about? Are they talking? That's the kind of a person you are. And that's why you think that everyone around you wants to remove you from office. That's not the way to live. So it is wrong to suggest that I said Kalusha was bad. Was I the only one who questioned, who criticized the excesses in Kalusha's administration? Certainly not. So many people some of the people that supported Kalusha realized, also came and challenged Mr. Andrew Kamanga himself when he was they were good friends with Kalusha at some point before Mr. Kamanga challenged him for the first president. So that is, the kind of relationship I do have. If I said he was bad or whatever, I was discussing Zambian football, anything connected to Zambian football. Mr. Andrew Kamanga himself. Andrew Kamanga, yes, we didn't agree. There are so many things he did, which you yourself agreed with me. When you were serving as a board member of ZPL, I was talking about the illegality of the ZPL chairmanship that needed to be corrected. You agreed with me, but you were serving under somebody who did not have the mandate of the first council. And it is you and me who worked on that process, fought hard that we should regularize it. So how do you turn around today and say, I saw bad, I was talking about bad, Mr. What kind of a person are you? What are you trying to say to the people? Mr. President, you need to be honest in your dealings with people. You need to be honest in your dealings with people. You were not truthful. You were not truthful at the MTN Awards when you spoke about the fourth estate. You must change. That is not how a public figure conducts himself. That's not how a public officer conducts himself. Today, I do not agree with you. You and me have had conversation privately in that office. One of the things you told the people was that we are going to change and correct the first constitution because this first constitution is terrible. You agreed that the first constitution was in shambles, and it is in shambles. But today, you cannot move an inch to begin the process of reviewing the first constitution. Why? It is 1 year already from the time you were elected. Now, if it is 1 year from the time you were elected, and you haven't moved an inch in reviewing the first constitution. We are now in the second year, meaning that the next annual general meeting, okay, we will need to discuss the amendment. But there's no will. You don't demonstrate that will to change the first constitution. We are already speculating that you want to abuse it, okay, to eliminate candidates in the next election, the same way your predecessor used it to almost eliminate all of you from the race. And that is, even when I had a conversation with you, I'm sure you remember, I asked you, we promised the people that we're going to work on the first constitution. You told me, no, we didn't promise them that it would be in the short term. It is one of those in the long term. In the long term, when is the first constitution going to be attended to? There are so many lacunas in the first constitution that you yourself raise. Now, we are talking about those lacunas, and does that mean I'm saying you're a bad person? I'm just reminding you of the things we promised, all the things we owe the Zambian people through files. That's number one. You did want me to serve on the strategic committee. But prior to that, you and me had a discussion that a strategic committee does not need a blotted number of people to serve on it. Today, I understand you have got 65 people plus 7, almost 70 people doing the strategic committee. But even the money that FIFA gave for that specific purpose has run out. I told you I cannot save. It doesn't make sense that you bring a huge number to come and save on the strategic committee. We cannot all of us save on the strategic. That just needs one consultant, maybe 2, 3 other people, because ultimately that document would be taken to the First Council. The First Council will have to approve through the General Secretary's office. Why should we have a bloated number when the association does not have funds? And that is exactly what I was, those were my misgivings. And those are the issues that I'm addressing. Those are the issues that I'm raising. And you're okay, if I'm saying you're bad, and that is how you've interpreted it, that's your opinion. But I've not gone into your personal issues. I'm discussing your issues to do with Zambian football. And anything related to Zambia and your conduct, morally or otherwise, as a leader of the association. Those are public issues. Those are subject to public discourse. We are going to discuss them. We're not going to go into your private. If somebody's, well, I don't mind you calling me bad for as long as I'm demanding that you should do the right thing. But don't lie about people that have got a bad relationship. Today, I'll tell you, whenever I write something to do with Football House, management of the association, Isandro Kamanga is very happy. He's one of the people who shares my articles with others because I'm giving the same checks and balances I did to him. I'm not in files. I'm not a public relations officer. There's a difference between the journalist, me who supported your candidature, and one who doesn't agree with you, and one who is employed in files. I'm not employed in files. So you don't expect me to be uploading you. I wouldn't upload you. Because I am a journalist. I'll tell you one thing. If you find a journalist who everyone is, he's a good journalist, they are clapping, there's something wrong with that journalist. A journalist who believes in the truth, a journalist who's a watchdog, is not loved by everyone. He is not liked by everyone. In fact, in this position, we have very few friends. If you are a journalist who's going to, pursue the truth, demand accountability, demand transparency, demand, a corruption-free system, there is no way you're going to be loved by everyone. There is no way, because you are exposing, Akadilo, where people chew from. You are exposing that. Not an ordinary blogger. Bloggers are there to make ends meet for themselves. We are journalists who were trained. We went into a classroom. We understand what, the dynamics of press law. We understand, the ethics of journalism itself. And that is why even when I campaigned with you, I told you that I was not coming into this as an ordinary journalist. I was coming into this as a stakeholder. But if you choose not to work with me, for instance, or I choose not to work with you because I do not agree with the style of leadership I see in you, I'm a journalist. I do my work as a journalist. That doesn't mean that I hate you. I've got no reason to hate anyone. I've got no reason. That is not me. But I've got every reason to demand transparency, to demand accountability, and to demand a proper management of the system. If you do the right thing, there's nothing I'll do. There's nothing I'll write about regarding your administration. And that is very, very, very critical. I mean, look, I was talking about tribalism the other day. You and me had these discussions, one-on-one. We had very personal discussions about tribalism. This discussion with you in your office, outside your office, on the phone, we had these discussions. But look at now what it has turned out to be. You told me you don't practice tribalism. You're not a tribalist. I'm yet to confirm, I'm being told, even the head of administration that you have employed after the exit of Colonel Siame is also a Zambezi Angels FC member. When I say Zambezi Angels FC member, I'm not saying that he belongs to Zambezi Angels FC as a football club. He belongs to a specific region. That is not good. That is not good. Zambian football, like I said, belongs to everyone. It belongs to everyone. And that's what we have to learn. Okay? That's how we have to learn to do it. Give opportunities to everyone across the board. So I thought it was very key and very important that, I raise those issues. Don't go about, because that's a narrative you're trying to push around that. No, I called Kasunga bad, I called Mulonga bad, I called Kalusha bad, I called Gamanga bad. No. I called you bad. No. Let's distinguish. And at no point did I work with Kalusha on a campaign and agreed with him on certain things. I never did. All right. I was strictly doing my journalism work. If I was working with you, obviously, the things that I do as a journalist would not come out in my journalism work. Would definitely be discussed. Like I've discussed so many things, unless you want us to be discussing those things publicly. But these are things that I'm telling you, for instance, the Constitution, the first Constitution, it needs to be amended. You are pushing back. And we already can tell that, now these are the signs that power is sweet. Okay? The same bad Constitution you were saying it's written. It's on record. If you want, we can publish what you wrote about the first Constitution. Today, you see no agency to correct that first Constitution. What kind of a person are you? What kind? I mean, it makes me laugh. It makes me laugh because at every given point, you as a man must be trusted when you say something. Yes, there are certain pledges we don't fulfill. We must come back and reason with the people and advise them why certain pledges are not fulfilled. However, for something such as the Constitution, we do not have a reason not to have started amending the first Constitution. It's in poor shape and can easily be exploited by a bad leader. It was exploited. It was designed for such purposes. You knew that. Today, you cannot claim that no, you cannot change the first constitution because it's long term, short term, and whatever niceties you want to add to the conversation. I think when you promise the people, you have to do it. Let there be no scapegoat. Again, unless otherwise, tell the truth. Tell the people the truth about the relationship I had with all the first presidents. You were never there. You were a football player when I was having this relationship. When I was attending first AGMs, you were playing football. Okay? When I was you were not eligible. When I was attending first AGM, learning the structure of FAS, understanding the language and the culture of the FAS council, you were not there. Probably the first FAS council you've probably attended less than 5 FAS councils. I've attended more than 15 FAS councils, so I understand. I've got an idea of the FAS structure. I thought we should put it into perspective. Let me play the video one more time. Let's listen to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We are all gathered here this evening in the beautiful town of Kitwe because of the power of football. And indeed, as I conclude, I talked about the importance of the fourth estate in any nation, not only in secular politics, but also in any organizational setup, or indeed in football. The journalists have a duty, a fundamental duty, to help democracy grow. Democracy thrives in the marketplace of ideas, and freedom of expression is the lifeblood of any democracy. Therefore, you, the media, as the fourth estate, you must help this country to genuinely unite. You will be failing in your duties if you are going to allow abuse of freedom of expression and end up allowing people to commit offenses in the process. Football is about love, is about unity. Because at the end of the day, when the law visits your shoulders, you will start complaining. So the media help this country to genuinely unite. We cannot continue to have differences. We cannot continue. Football is a game of unity. Football is a game of love. You cannot continue to talk about Ted Mlonga. He is bad. Evaristo Kasunga was bad. Karusha Bwaria was bad. Andrew Kamanga was bad. Keith Mwemba is bad. And you are the only person who is right in this country. I think we cannot continue along those lines. And to everything, there's a limit. There's a limit to everything. I think you know what I'm talking about. As far as we remain committed to using football as a force for national unity, youth empowerment, and social transformation. It's a game of unity. It's a game of love. That's why we are all here, because there's love, there's happiness here. I wish to thank you all and wish to thank everyone and wish everyone a wonderful evening. May God bless you all. May God bless Zambian football, and may God bless the Republic of Zambia. Thank you very much.
You heard it all. I mean, one more time. Thank you for your attention. You heard it all. You heard it all. Threats, of course. Threats of wanting to subject me to, the law when the law visits you. What wrong have I done? There's nothing wrong I've done. There's nothing wrong I've done apart from pointing out, the significant issues that we fundamentally disagreed on. Those are matters of public discourse. Now, There's nothing wrong. There's no criminal offense that I've committed. But you go to a public podium to start discussing issues that, are not supposed to even be discussed there. All right. So anyway, that for me was an important part of this discussion. I thought we should have it. I'll bring you different activities on this podcast. I'll go out in the field and get you the news. I'll go out in the field and do live streaming. The World Cup is coming. I'll definitely be around the stadiums, bringing you the activities around those stadiums, so you can see the excitement, the carnival around such a big tournament. But from time to time, I'll have to discuss Zambian football and strictly, bring it to your attention. Uncut. I'll bring in guests, of course. I'll invite phone calls, individuals to call in and participate, give us their views and perspectives. There's so many things we'll talk about on strictly on football, and sometimes we'll delve into the politics of this world, because at the end of the day, we are a part of this world. The patron of the Football Association of Zambia is a Republican president. We have a right to discuss, all those individuals, all those positions, without being restrained from doing so. Freedom of expression is an important human right. It's a fundamental human right. It's inherent. You are born with that right. And no one has the right to stop you from expressing your opinion, expressing your views, no matter how they do not agree with them. They have to respect your opinion. Next time, I will definitely discuss events surrounding the police call out that I got, having discussed an issue to do with the late president, who was the patron of the Republic of Zambia, a very interested member of football, who played a key role, for instance, in the Gabon air disaster families receiving their compensation, played a significant role. In Chawama, he was a key member of the Chawama Christmas tournament, together with the late Christian Temple. Those are people that were, from the background, contributing to the development of football in Chawama. So we can talk about them, So that would be a topic for another day. For now, I wish to thank you for joining us. We are proceeding to watch, obviously, the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations finals. That is between Senegal and Tanzania. So congratulations to Tanzania for making it to the finals. We want to see how that match will be. Both teams, had house-setting semi-finals. Senegal played Morocco. They overcame Morocco on penalties in the semi-final. Tanzania also overcame Egypt on penalties in the semi-final. So it was an exciting, semi-final matchup that now has produced the two finalists in Senegal and Tanzania. So, I'll leave you with video of the excitement. The Senegalese national team is preparing for the World Cup. When that match between Morocco and Senegal was being played, it was like a replay of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations between Senegal and Morocco senior national team. So the senior national team for Senegal and members of the Senegalese senior national team were watching the penalties between Morocco under-17 and Senegal under-17. Here's a video of their reaction when the team won. So for that score, thank you very much for joining me today. I do appreciate your time. Continue and remember to subscribe, and share so that we can have a conversation. Thank you and have a blessed night. Shalom, shalom.
Tranquillement. Allez Hassan, allez Hassan. Yo.
ma xanaa ñetteel la lan la fa ñaari yoon ji xanaa.
bi lay baax incha allah. ñaar nit.
kan.
Visage de fatigue. Tranquillement. Tranquillement. Allez Hassan, allez Hassan.
yow xanaa ñetteel la lan la fa ñaari yoon ji xanaa.
bi lay baax incha allah. ñaar nit.
kan.